So, you've probably heard the term Bitcoin mining thrown around, right? It sounds super technical, maybe even a little mysterious. But trust me, by the end of this, it's all gonna click. So yeah, let's just jump right in.
Okay, so first things first, let's tackle the biggest question right off the bat. Where do Bitcoins even come from? It's a really good question. And the answer, well, that's what makes this whole world of crypto so different from regular money.
Yeah, you can forget about printing presses or mints. There's no government or central bank churning out bitcoins. Instead, they're unearthed. You got to think of it like digital gold. And that single idea, that concept of mining, that's really the key to unlocking how this all works.
Seriously, the best way to wrap your head around this is to picture a digital gold rush. It's actually a fantastic analogy, and it makes everything so much easier to understand.
So, look at this number, 21 million. That's the magic number. That's it. Just like there's only so much gold we can dig out of the ground, there will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin in existence. And this wasn't an accident, you know? Scarcity is literally baked into its DNA, right into the code itself.
In this comparison here, it just lays it all out. Think about it. In the real world, mining for gold means using tons of physical energy, right? You've got heavy machinery, all that stuff. Well, in the Bitcoin world, miners use computational energy, raw processing power from super powerful computers to dig up new coins. It's really the same core idea. You're putting in a whole lot of work to get a valuable and very limited resource.
Okay, but here's where it gets really interesting. A Bitcoin miner's job isn't just about creating new coins. They actually have two incredibly important jobs, and both are essential for keeping the whole network up and running. So let's take a look at what those are.
All right, so job number one is exactly what we've been talking about, right? It's solving that super complex math problem to generate new Bitcoins. But their second job, wow, you could argue this one is even more important. They're basically the accountants of the network. They're the ones verifying every single transaction that happens.
So why does that matter so much? Because that verification process is the security system for the entire network. Miners are the ones who check and confirm that every transaction is legitimate. This is what stops people from cheating the system, from committing fraud, and here's the cool part. The more miners you have working on this, the more secure and the more efficient the whole network gets for everybody.
And of course, they don't do all this work for free. Miners get paid for their effort in two ways. First, they get what's called the block reward. That's the freshly minted Bitcoin they just generated. And second, they also collect tiny little transaction fees from all the payments they just verified. It's a really smart system that incentivizes them to keep the network running smoothly and securely. So, at this point, you're probably thinking, wait a minute, I have a computer, maybe I should get in on this. Just fire it up and start making digital money. And honestly, it kind of used to be that simple. But the whole system was designed with a very, very clever twist.
See, Bitcoin's creator wanted new coins to be found at a nice, steady, predictable pace, about one new block of them every 10 minutes or so. And to make sure that happened, the system has this amazing self-adjusting feature. The best way to think of it is, the more people who join the hunt and try to solve the puzzle, the harder the puzzle automatically becomes for everyone. It's a genius way to keep that digital gold rush from just spinning completely out of control.
And when I say harder, I mean how much harder. The numbers here are just staggering. Back in 2009, you could take a regular home computer and mine hundreds of Bitcoins, no problem. Fast forward to 2014, and that same exact computer would need almost 100 years, 98 years, to mine just one Bitcoin. The difficulty didn't just go up, it went completely vertical. It's insane.
So obviously, this massive spike in difficulty created a huge challenge. I mean, how could anyone compete? But just like in any real gold rush, when the stakes get higher, the miners adapt. They got smarter, they developed new tools and new strategies to have a fighting chance in this new era.
This timeline really tells the story. It started out super simple, right? People were mining with their regular old personal computers at home. But as those puzzles got tougher and tougher, miners realized they needed way more firepower. This kicked off a full-blown technological arms race, which eventually led to the invention of these things called ASICs. These aren't regular computers. They're hyper-specialized machines built to do one thing and one thing only: mine Bitcoin as fast as humanly possible.
But here's the final twist in the story. Even if you went out and bought one of these beastly, super fast ASIC computers, the competition today is just so fierce that the odds of you, just one person, actually solving the puzzle on your own are, well, they're practically zero. It's basically like trying to win the Powerball lottery all by yourself.
So what was the solution? It was simple but brilliant. Teamwork. Miners started banding together to form what are called mining pools. And it's exactly like a lottery pool you might do at the office. Everyone throws their computing power into one big pile to vastly increase the group's chances of winning. And then, when they finally hit that digital jackpot, they all share the reward. It's the only way to play the game today.
So let's do a quick recap of what we've covered. Bitcoins are mined, not printed. There's a hard cap, only 21 million ever, just like gold. The miners are the heart and soul of the network, doing two jobs, making new coins and securing all the transactions. And finally, as that digital gold rush got more and more competitive, miners had to level up with specialized gear and, most importantly, teamwork.
And there you have it. That, in a nutshell, is how a Bitcoin is born. But all of this leaves us with one last, really big question to chew on. We know there's a limit, that 21 million cap. So, what happens to the miners? And what happens to the entire Bitcoin network itself when that very last coin is finally mined?